Hey everyone, it's Mike Valtos, and welcome to the Orderflows Market Analysis for Thursday, September 21st, 2017. It's been a while since I've done one of these. I've had kind of a busy week, but I'm got something interesting to show you. It's one of the benefits of using order flow. So the market's kind of quiet today. The Fed, I believe, is starting their unwinding already, and Dow was up. Well, sorry, it was down. I'm so used to saying it's up, but it was down marginally. I think it was like 0.2%. But first, a brief disclaimer. This presentation is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered a solicitation to buy or sell a futures contract or make any other type of investment decision. Futures trading contains substantial risk and is not for every investor. An investor could potentially lose all or more than the initial investment. Risk capital is money that could be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security or lifestyle. Only risk capital should be used for trading, and only those with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Tools used in this presentation are the Orderflows Trader Volume Footprint Chart, the Delta Scalper, and the Price Rejector. So what I'm going to show you is really one of the benefits of using order flow. And if you're not using order flow, you're really missing out on a lot of juicy information. So let me just pull up the. Okay, so here it is in the Eurocurrency. It was late in the session. It was around the 2 o'clock time, Chicago time, 2 p.m. But you can see this volume here, 1,026. That's massive for the Eurocurrency. It's massive for any currency. But it's very, I don't know what's the term to say. This is why people like to use order flows, because they could see this information. If you're just using a normal bar chart, okay, you're not going to see the type of volume that's traded there. This is market generated volume. It's market generated information. You can see that there was a huge bid there, 1,026, right? And what happens after this? The market goes up, right? Even into the evening session, it even trades higher, above 120 even. So you know that you have very strong buying, supportive buying. People basically stepping up at this price level and saying, I'm a bidder here. I'll just buy everything. And you can see how the market reacts, and if you're not using order flow, if you're just looking at a normal bar chart, you're not going to see that information. I'll show you what it looks like on a normal bar chart. Alright, so this is the normal bar chart. This is the bar right here, this one. I don't know if you can see that. This bar right here. This is the bar with the big volume. If you're looking at a chart, this is an 8-range chart. If you're just looking at a normal chart, you can't tell that that this market is going to rally up off this, that there's a strong support of buying. You can't. You're just not seeing that information. I know candlestick guys, forex guys, well, you got a pin bar here. Well, you had one here, you had one here. This market didn't do anything off this. This market went sideways. But here, this bar is where you see that volume. Now, the other thing is, I don't know if it's even worth noting, but that price is 119.85, right? Just sort of scroll back. 119.85. Where are you here? Yeah, it did come back right to this point earlier. At 10:30. That we did rally up, break out to the new highs, came back down to 85, and then shot up. But if you look at the volume, it wasn't nothing spectacular. It was just average. 61, you had unfinished business. I know unfinished business, people will come out and say, yeah, you had unfinished business. We came back to it much later in the day, but yeah, that's a bit of a stretch. You got unfinished business here. We haven't come back to it yet. But anyway, this is, if there's only one reason for using order flow and just to see the volume, when things really stand out like that, then, you should be using order flow when you're trading. So it doesn't take much else to just put it over a normal chart. You could put it over a normal candlestick chart like you see here. It just makes life a lot easier. Sometimes do you get stuff like this every day? No, you don't, honestly. But when you get it, it's just awesome. I don't know any other way to say it. It's just a great feeling to see stuff like that and see how the market reacts, and and write it. That's what you want to do as a trader. You want to catch things like the pieces of information like that that nobody else is really paying attention to. Okay, so just what else really quick. I'll look at the British pound. I'll just show you a quick chart of the British pound. It's just a bar chart, but it just makes it easier to see. This is the Delta Scalper indicator. So this morning, you had a signal here. It didn't work out. But then look, after 7:38, you get a nice buy signal here around the 135.40 area. And what does it do? It just goes straight up the entire day. You get a sell up here, 136, above the 136 even area. So, you know what? If you catch a move like that, then it's happy days, right? That's what you want as a trader. Is you want to catch those big moves. Yeah, you got a loss here. I mean, that's fine. It's not the end of the world. You could. You take that and you move on. You look for the next trade, and the next trade comes, and it's a big winner. You're risking, I don't know what that is, 9 ticks, but you're getting back 60 ticks. That's the risk to reward that you want to be getting. This is the E-minis. I just wanted to show you this. This is the Delta Scalper. So this morning, we're really going sideways. Chop, chop, chop. Here you got your last sell signal before the big sell-off. You got a little sell here that works out, a little buy here. The sell, not so much, but then even in the evening session, you get some signals right before the big sell-off. I think there was another, some news coming out of Korea, but we're starting to come off this market. It was interesting. James Rogers again was on some interview and predicting the greatest bear market of all time of history. I don't know why these people get him on. He's been saying this for the last 15 years, it seems. I mean, I remember even when I was living in Singapore, I'd see him on the news. Oh, this is the biggest bear market ever. And then he talks about, how great China is. I think China's a bigger bubble right now than the U.S., but that's just that's my own analysis. I don't want people coming up to me and saying, "Well, you said China was going to sell off and it didn't." Just really quick, I'll just show you this. This is the bonds. Anything interesting here? This bar also very interesting. I mean, again, this is one of the perks of using order flow. You could see this heavy volume up here, 1713, because you got 1473 traded on the offer, 1713 on the bid. So this market, excuse me, so it's 9 bid at 10. Okay. 10s aren't trading. Everyone's selling the heck out of 9s. Goes 9 offered, and then it sells off. This type of bar is extremely bearish. I mean, very rarely do you get that sort of volume on the bid side of a down candle. You just don't, And then again, it's the unfinished business, and people will say, "Oh, it came back to it." Yeah, it came back to it in the next session, but at that point, it's really, you're getting some other bullish signs. You got a price rejector down here. You got the Delta Scalper here. And it just sort of goes sideways to the close, and then it rallies in the evening session. I mean, I'd rather be, taking the buy here than saying, "We got unfinished business. Expect the market to come back there at some point in the future." Is a bit of a stretch. And I'd rather be having signals like here. You got the bullish ratio. You got price rejector, single print, Delta Scalper in the next bar. So all signs are going that this market's going to go up, and it does eventually in the next session, but. I think that's a better assessment of what to expect from the market than just saying you had unfinished business here. But this bar, anyway, very bearish bar. Very bearish bar when you get this sort of volume up at the top of that bar and the market sells off. Okay, so thanks for watching this video, and be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can learn a lot more about trading with order flow. Just go to my website and sign up for the free Delta Scalper indicator. I've been saving these questions. I got a lot of questions coming up from people about order flow, and I'm going to try and create a video about it tonight or over the weekend. But one of the questions was the Delta Scalper indicator. Okay, order flow indicators, they run on the data as it comes in, right? Like I showed you that British pound chart. Let me just get back to it. That's the Delta Scalper. But the Delta Surge is the same way. People say, I loaded a chart and it's not appearing. Well, the reason why it's not appearing is because the way the data is handled, right? If I were to load a British pound chart right now, these Delta Surge Scalper, this is the Delta Scalper, these Delta Scalper signals would not appear because it reads the data as it comes in. It doesn't read historical data, okay? So don't think you could just load a chart, a blank chart, and then load the indicator and it's going to appear. It's not. Okay, it's not going to appear. It's going to read the data as it comes in. That would be like saying I have a dome and I want to load historical data on it. Well, no, you got to run it in replay, right? Because it's reading the data as it comes in, right? And it doesn't read historical past data, period, unless you're on NT8, which handles data completely different. NT7 and NT8, the way they handle the data is two different ways, okay? And you could save the data, so when you reload a chart in NinjaTrader 8, it'll have the data. Now, you know, the one thing I've noticed about that, I don't know if it's just me, but when you enable the data to be saved on NT8, it really takes up a lot of disk space. So make sure you got a computer with a lot of hard drive space, and then I think over time you'll probably want to transfer those files. I mean, as contracts expire, right? These are futures contracts, so you know, after, you know, right now we're trading December British pound, so after the December contract expires, you probably want to move those that data off your PC onto an external drive or something. But you know, it really it'll take up space. I found it takes up space. Now, granted, I run a lot of charts, so you know, 1 day's worth of data is like 1 gig, but I've literally got a boatload of charts running. So just keep that in mind with NinjaTrader 8. Again, I don't know if it's just me and the way my PC was configured, but I did notice that it was using up a lot of memory in that respect. So anyway, thanks for watching this. Go to orderflows.com or go to deltascalper.com, and be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thanks, and have a great day. Bye-bye.